special naming convention?
12 in power.
Yes, there is, and I will talk about that in just a moment. In power, 3d6 for dexterity and charisma. Okay, so the naming convention is as follows. Again, with teenage fiction in a not very explained fantasy situation, take an ordinary name, a real name, change 1 or 2 letters to something you like.
Okay.
Is it? So some were 5 plus 2 d6 and some were 2, or?
Yes, correct. Yeah. And it depends on what form. Everybody has 2d6 plus 6 power.
What about
I just decided that.
Okay.
I was just asking for trouble.
No, but it's sometimes having like 6 plus 2 d6 or something.
Right, right.
It could be.
Now, something else you should know about the game is that when you make a successful skill roll, you mark it. And at the end of the session, you see if you go up. And to get a success, you roll that number or less on on percentile dice. And then when you want to check for its improvement, you roll over the number on percentile dice. So, the only advice I give you is roll early and roll often.
Yeah.
And I will be making ridiculous excuses for the application of your skills in almost any situation, just so that you keep rolling the damn things until you actually get a hit. So the first thing I will say is that we have 2 outriders in the group, and they are riding together. There is 1 adult with you, and you are riding along out. There is a wall that is built of stones that is quite old, and it could easily be crossed. It's low, but it is there, and as long as it is maintained, that gives a message to outsiders that you have the wherewithal, your community has the capacity to keep this wall in good shape, and that they should not put their wretched, rotten, unwanted
It's more of a
props on our side. Right?
So it's like a border of sorts.
Yeah, of sorts, yes, very much so, and a border of reach. We can reach this far. And I have I'm lifting this nice map from this Earth Dawn supplement, which in this supplement is covering a large area, very large area. But for us, I am shrinking the scale so that this is more regional, places that you could ride to, places that you could ride on a boat to. And that this little area of provinces represents different elder and other power structure influences. So that the wall we are talking about is running along one of these dotted lines. And although we are not using precisely these names, I would like to look at the territory of the Fists of Thod, which crosses the river. The rivers flow this way. There is a body of water down here. None of your characters have ever been across this river. And so you've only heard about the southern jungles and the water. This is a mountain range with some sort of dreadful situation over here. And then you have, mountains here, and then rivers down to the sea. Please feel free to take a look to get some perspective. This area is dominated in religious terms by the war chief god, Ordlindas. Ordlindas is, favors the mighty. Victory is what matters. And we all know that the strength of our fighting keeps us safe. We all know that a man is not a man until they have done their bit in it. And until not that long ago, that border was marked by a regular renewal of heads and other body parts placed at intervals along the wall, just to make sure the message is very clear.
Okay.
And among those different little areas marked by the dotted lines, raids, occasional atrocities, messages being sent, and the resultant control over specific resources is a constant state. Now, your area, the war chief, is old Maldred. Maldred was the wife of a war chief when she was young. He died early in a fight, and she took over and has not remarried and has now aged and was feared. After that event was so successful and atrocious in her defense, or what they called defense of the province, that nobody dared raid again. To the extent that, unusually for this area, you are the first generation that has grown up without constant war in this area, although we know it all goes on out there.
Area.
Yeah. So the area marked by Fagsvists is yours. The wars continue.
Yeah.
All
Is
through
it
the others.
like a great road with a bridge or something?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, it is. And also trade, goes down here and so forth, up and down the rivers. This is too thick to pass, so only river traffic goes through. I wouldn't be too concerned with the details on the map because we are only using it for inspiration. But if something jumps out from a spot that seems fun to do because of the configuration, we
Like
do it.
smashing a bridge from the rifle.
Now, so therefore along that wall is what this band of 3 outriders are riding along. It's merely to check, to shall we say, look across it.
There's a quite small wall.
Mm-hmm.
We maintain it, and
Who are the outriders?
put people's pikes on it.
Not today.
Not
That's
anymore.
the point. You are among the first you are the first generation that has not, where the outriders do not take heads
Okay.
and bring them back.
Should I think of this a bit like Conan the Barbarian setting, or have you? Since I'm a bit younger, apparently, what sort of inspiration in general do you have any?
Well,
suggestion?
I would say that we are thinking more like, okay, I know. Think of the anime movie Princess Mononoke. Do not give the adults the faces of children. So remove that anime convention.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't? That's kind of too bad. It has the right feel.
Okay.
It is what looks like an earthly landscape, but we don't really care where or when.
Okay.
And if you really want to get an analog, think more of an American Western.
Oh
In
yeah, I
a
was thinking like
particularly non-lawful area.
yeah, because the way you describe it as like so settlements in like the Americas.
Something like that, yes.
The like when how to say the Far West.
Mm-hmm. I would say
Oh
that's
no,
correct.
here comes some bandits or some Indians.
Right, correct. And the woods are fierce and frightening and...
And you have your Mormon settlement. Right?
Yeah, yes, exactly correct. Something like that. And so, yes, that's about right. But it has this surreal fantasy.
Yeah, it's
appearance
a
and-
fantasy setting.
Yes, so that is exactly
Of
right.
not this world.
Mhm. So,
This might be a silly question, but something stuck in my mind
Yes.
about your phrasing. You said this sort of hoodie thing we wear.
yeah.
Did you really mean to say that that's all we wear?
No, you're wearing ordinary clothes.
We got we believe in pants.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
Okay.
I was just curious that as the horse riding and all, do have chaps.
Yes, this is the materials, the textiles,
Mhm.
are the different weaves of spider silk,
Mhm.
so that they're much like different weaves of cloth that we know,
Okay.
and also leather.
So we have like
Okay.
boots
Yes.
of sorts.
Yes, you definitely have boots, and in fact, I would say leather is probably pretty prominent.
Yeah.
Lots of.
And that's where the horses come in.
Yes, of course.
And do we got domesticated spiders?
Oh yeah, well they're semi-domestic,
Yeah,
as you will see in a moment.
but we can harvest.
But they yes, the ones that are tame enough live actually in the village and get and get milked.
Okay.
So if the kid strays too far out, well, the spider took it.
They're correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't
We
like
always
go on a
assume-
wolf out like, the wolf is in town.
Right, but I would also suggest that that's another thing the Outriders do, is they see if a rogue big spider has wandered into the area and stuff like that. Right. So, the riding along the wall, there's also coming to a place where a group of people, of masons, are maintaining a part of the wall. And this is a little tricky because there's, some earth has eroded and the wall is overhanging an area, and either the wall has to be torn down there and rebuilt with a little bend on the more stable ground, or we are going to go on the other side and fix up the wall so that it's nice and stable.
So now that you
is.
mention, I got randomized to the construction worker and I worked as a construction
Oh no!
which is a nice thing.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like,
It's like, I
I
know
know
this.
this thing.
I role play to get away from this.
No,
shit.
it's more like actually, I think I can actually do this character
Right.
fair.
Excellent.
It's more like
Right, now that all of you are the same age and at least know who each other are, the people from the same level of families know each other a little bit better. So there you are on your horse, and you know this character.
You mentioned naming.
Yes, let's name our characters now.
Yeah.
Edrion.
Aha, Andrion, excellent.
Is there a generator or like think of old Roman names?
Okay. Did you hear what I said earlier
Change,
about how you pick an ordinary name
Yeah.
and then you change one or two letters to something you like?
Okay.
So again, following the team.
So for instance, my name off game Adam would be changed, mixed
Yeah.
up. Okay.
Damn, hey.
No, but I won't pick
Yeah.
Adam, but-
Can we continue?
Bandir.
Bandir,
Mohan.
Mohan. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Hanuk.
And Jornake.
Jornake.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's from Björn Åke.
Yeah.
Jornake.
Jornake.
Ektar.
Hector. Excellent. Okay. So, Hector, you, as the youngest member of the team, and the sturdiest, and the biggest.
But
that.
also probably the weakest.
Well, yes, you're not the strongest fellow, but you are a big guy. And so they have got you down there underneath the rocks.
Everyone thought I was strong, so that's why I was so amazing.
So they've stuck you there to stabilize things, while people are putting in stones. And at that time, too, a fellow you know comes by. There are the two outriders, in fact, in the group. And so you're in that group, and then there is one adult with you. So there's three outriders in this team riding along. And again, the adult with you has been talking about back in my day, we put the heads there. States the heads there,